I was in a discussion online recently, and it made me think that the author is dead and YouTube has killed him. Let me go through why I think that. I'm not a professional literary analyst or critic or anything like that. I read stuff, I watch stuff, and then if I'm interested in what I read and what I watched, then afterwards I'll go on TV tropes or I'll watch video essays about that thing. I was in a discussion where the person asked, do you like to read about the author of a work or a creator of a work before you engage that work or after you engage that work? And I remarked to myself that I'm usually not finding out about the creator of a work. If I want to explore more about a work, I will go and see what are people discussing about it online? What are people discussing about it on Reddit? What kind of videos are people making about it on YouTube? And even going on TV tropes and seeing what has been written about that work. But I'm not usually going and thinking about the creator of that work and investigating their life history and that sort of thing. And so that got me thinking about some things I had read about literary criticism. And I'm definitely not trained in literary criticism at all. This is me being a dilettante. But it was striking to me that the traditional form of literary criticism was studying the author, or studying the creator of a work, and understanding their history and understanding their biography to then figure out why the author made certain choices and what was their intent in creating that work. And that seems so funny to me because that's not something that I ever think about doing. So that got me thinking about a different idea that I had heard about, the death of the author, which I have not read that essay either. This is just me finding out it from Wikipedia and people mentioning it online. But my understanding, my basic generic layperson understanding is that once a work has been published, the author loses control. It is up to the reader to read that work and then draw from it what they will. And I think that is the dominant form of engagement with works today. Now, at the beginning of this, I said that I think that the author is dead and YouTube has killed him. If you are a creator, a YouTuber, and you've paid any attention at all to the coaches and gurus who talk about YouTube and how to succeed on YouTube, then one thing that will become clear very quickly is that the entire goal is about the audience. YouTube will say things like, the algorithm follows the audience. If you want to succeed on YouTube, then you have to find your target audience, understand them, understand their interests, and appeal to them. And if you don't do these things, then you're not going to be very successful. And so what that has done is that it has meant that instead of us looking at YouTube videos and art and content in terms of what was the creator's intention, we instead look at it in terms of what is the target audience's interest? For creators, it means that instead of us creating by looking at ourselves, we are also tempted with this mindset of what can I create that will be trendy to the audience? Or if I'm in a niche, what can I create that will reach my small niche of audience members? And it's not so much about what is it saying about me as a creator. I just thought that was interesting. I think that it's very interesting that if I am engaging another work, then I look at how many views does it have? And I'm not saying that a work is good or bad based off of how many views it has. It's certainly not the case always, but that does matter. Like if you look at something that has no views, then a lot of people are going to look at it and say, this must not be very good. And similarly, if you want to evaluate the quality of a work, often you might go and look at the comments of what people have said about that. If it's been shared on social media, what are people commenting about that work? And if it's getting a lot of bad reviews and bad comments and negative feedback on social media, then instead of thinking about, well, where is the author coming from and what was their biography and all that kind of stuff, it's really about what is the audience's reaction to that. And I think that even if we don't think that we want to do this, I think that this is our dominant mode of consuming in contemporary culture. I mean, if I want to know if a product on Amazon is good, I'm not going to go to the manufacturer and then look at what they have to say about it. I'm going to go into the review section. I'm going to see, is it 5-star reviews? Are the review comments positive or negative? And so it's really about the audience, not about the creator. What does this look like as a creator? Every time I think about making a video, I have to go through this process of thinking, is this approachable to the audience? Would someone, if they were seeing my thumbnail and my title shown alongside 3 other thumbnails or 2 other thumbnails or however many other thumbnails, what would be most likely to get them to click? And sometimes I may go against that. And in fact, most of the time I go against that because I want to do my own thing, right? But I still feel bad when a video gets a poor number of views, even though I may have made a conscious choice to do something that I wanted to do, because I am still sharing it with other people. I think that a lot of times people say that either you create for the audience or you create for yourself, and these are always 2 separate motivations. And I think that a lot of people, they want to create something that's true to themselves and they want it to be accepted by an audience. And so it is a little sad when that match doesn't happen. But I understand that from the audience perspective, they don't care. They want something that's going to look interesting to them. And they're not going to look at who the creator is unless they already know the creator when they're deciding on what videos to watch. And so the question of looking at the creator's biography and history and intention to understand the work better, it seems frivolous. It seems like a luxury that audiences don't have to give to creators. And while I would love for an audience member to consider my history and my intentions as a creator, I understand that realistically, they're looking for something that's interesting to them. And if it's not immediately interesting to them, they'll just skip by.